to talk about here was two things. So obviously here in the racing world, we got two forms of top performing, top line series in motorsports. You have sprint cars and late models. Yeah, you have the big blocks. Yeah, you have the open wheel modified USMTS. But let's just be honest, ladies and gentlemen, those are pro stock. We look at this dirt track racing world like the NHRA. Sprint cars are the top fuel, and late models are the funny car. Everything else is everything else. That is what it is. It is what it is. In the top two forms of this sport, we have a different way of doing it. In the top fuel division, you have the World of Outlaws, who have traditionally been the 1A plus of everyone. And then everyone else is just 2 or maybe 1B minus with high limit when they race, even though it's a very limited schedule. Whereas in the late model world, you got 2 national contenders with the World of Outlaw Late Model Series and the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. It does seem like late model championships don't matter as much as sprint car championships, and it could be because of this split. If you win the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series championship, you're pretty much dubbed the best sprint car driver in the world. Whereas if you win the Lucas or the World Outlaw Championship, who's better? We don't really know. And I think that also plays a factor as to why events seem to be more cherished than series championships on the late model side of the spectrum. Whereas on the sprint car side, yes, the Knoxville Nationals and Kings Royals are very coveted, but it just seems like there is a bit of a angst or a want or desire to be a champion of the World Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Like that is the highest accomplishment that any sprint car driver could do. We look at this Lucas Oil Late Model Series Championship, and this is the points as they are right now. For those who don't know it, at the end of the year, Lucas Oil, to try to add some spice to the late model world championship scene, they're going to actually throw in the top 4 on the final 3 nights of the year at Eldora, the Dirt Track World Championship moving to Eldora. And those top 4 will have a 3-night battle, basically, for the championship, which some say is good. That's entertaining. But some might be like, well, that isn't fair. I mean, how would we feel if Ricky Thornton Jr. does not win the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Championship? This isn't like the sprint cars right now. Look at the gaps. These gaps are significantly higher than the sprint car series. No, over here, people have been close to Brad Sweet. I mean, look at the points. Obviously, points are going to be a little bit different, but it can't be that much. I mean, hopefully the system ain't that negated. But you look at the difference between Ricky Thornton Jr. and Hudson O'Neal is 350 points. The difference between Ricky Thornton Jr. and Tim McCready, who is sitting in that bubble spot of 4th, is 755. Ricky Thornton Jr. has had a Donnie Schatz-esque style season here, where he has just kicked their ass, and he is gone in the season-long standings. Now, imagine if you applied that same points bracket of 755 points from 1st to 4th here in the Lucas Oil Series. If you applied it to points instead of top 4 positions, let's just say 755, if you equated that to the World of Outlaw Series standings, you would lock in everyone back to Spencer Baston. So Spencer Baston could have a chance at winning the World of Outlaw Series championship in the last 3, if they did that at Charlotte, for instance, and they said the last 3 nights there were reset points for, the top 4. I mean, top 4 may be a little bit better over here in the sprint car world because Logan Schuchart, isn't super far back, but it's still 288 points. But how would y'all feel if Giovanni Scelzi or Donnie Schatz was to win the championship? Imagine if Spencer Baston was to win the World of Outlaw Series championship. Y'all may feel like that's not fair. Who would think that's fair? But logistically, a person who has performed on Spencer Baston or Sheldon's level or Donnie Schatz's level down here, or Logan or anybody, has a chance to win the championship this year in the Lucas Oil Series. I mean, Ricky Thornton Jr. has just been that damn good, guys. He's just been that damn good. You're like, wow, he's Brad Sweet to Logan Schuchart difference good over everybody, over second. Yeah, he's just been, as far as performance, Ricky Thornton Jr. has just been that much better than everyone. And would it not be a tragedy? Would it not be a tragedy, ladies and gentlemen, if we go into the Dirt Track World Championship and somebody who is that far ahead of everyone else loses the championship, the series championship. I understand there's bonuses. I understand there's money. And I was on the side of this 4-car final race scenario. I think it's going to be a very exciting. I'm going to more than likely be there. I think this is a must-see style of event, and I was behind it when they made the change, and I thought it was cool and great and grand. But I also didn't see one driver destroying the entire late model world this year named Ricky Thornton Jr. And with that being the case, Ricky Thornton Jr. deserves to be the series champion. And when we go to Eldora and we reset the bracket, and you put Ricky Thornton Jr. up against Jonathan Davenport, Tim McCready, and or Brandon Overton. This cutoff race is very close between Overton, McCready, and Moran, so there's a lot of things to watch here. And you put those guys up against Hudson O'Neal and Ricky Thornton, who even Hudson O'Neal has 300 points on Jonathan Davenport. You put them at Eldora. The favorites in that lock situation, guys, I'm sorry, is Davenport, McCready, Overton. Who has the resume at Eldora? Ricky Thornton Jr., I mean, he's done amazing things this year, but honestly, based on recollection, are you going to favor Ricky Thornton Jr. or Hudson O'Neal over Davenport, McCready, Overton at Eldora for 3 days? You know, and that's why the NASCAR thing's kind of messed up. You do all these road courses, super speedways, and then you settle the championship on one in particular track. It's just hard to judge a real champion. Now, I get the performance element, but we're not baseball and basketball and football where every court is the same size. No matter what, if it's 1 day or 10 days, it's the same course. That's not the case in racing. And honestly, I started the year supporting this, but at this point, I'm not sure that I can, because I will see it as a huge disservice to championship racing tournaments if someone who has not dominated this season like Ricky Thornton Jr. does not win this championship. And another issue, I mean, a lot of people, why can't the sprint cars be like the late model world? So here's what I want to say real quick. Here's the schedule this weekend for the late model series. Lucas Oil Late Model Series, Georgetown, Port Royal, and Port Royal. Georgetown is tonight. World of Outlaw Late Model Series, however, is at Davenport. Quad Cities 150. That's tonight as well, Friday and Saturday. So this is the only negative to when you split this up. You got two pretty good races here between Port Royal and Davenport, but the stars are split up. We're not watching the best of the best race. We're watching the best of the best race, some best from each side of the best of maybe best. And it's not as organized. That sucks. Is that good? Is it beneficial to be under one blanket? If the blanket protects you and serves you right, but this is the negatives of having that system as well. Because now, Saturday night, you're going to have a lot of badasses at Davenport. You're going to have a lot of badasses at Port Royal, but it ain't going to be the best. It's just going to be 1As, 1Bs. Whereas at least in the sprint car series, we have the best of the best lined up right here. There's no doubt. All-star competition not there. High-limit competition not there. This is it. The World of Outlaws. And being number one on this standings list is very important because of all those facts. Just a way of looking at this stuff, you know, just a way of looking at this stuff. And I'm not hating on the Lucas deal. What I'm all talking about with splits and all this stuff is exactly why y'all have done this with the championship. To add some kind of, I mean, it would kind of be cool if the sprint car series did something like that. I mean, none of these guys can be, I mean, really, even Macedo on back, none of these guys, Schuhart on back, none of these guys can be enthusiastic about going to the next 4 races or anything. They're not trying to make no cut line. These fan bases, Donnie Schatz ain't cheering for a championship. There's no chance. Whereas if there was that kind of cut line that the Lucas Oil Series does, there'd be all kind of buzz. Is he going to make it? Is he going to get in that top 4? Is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Can Donnie rail off a few and get into 4th past Logan Schuhart? He's only 60 points behind, you know, or whatever. There's elements to it. I get it. I also feel very bad for Ricky Thornton Jr. if he does not win this championship. It will be a disservice to Ricky Thornton Jr. and his overall performance this year, because he has been the best. I don't think anyone can deny that. And it'll be unfortunate come year's end if the best late model driver in the country who ran an entire series schedule, it's not that series champion. That's what I'm saying. But disservice, entertainment, all this stuff, that's not really the goal, right? It's about putting on a show. And maybe disservice and competition and all this in this crazy racing world that is not like anything else is needed to bring eyes on it. But anyways, don't get mad at me, I mean, Stephen A. Smith and all these people, they talk crap and say Jerry Jones should sell the Cowboys and then shows up to the Cowboys stadium on a red carpet and hangs out with Jerry Jones and drinks. But they're not fragile in these other sports. They're not offended at every little dip and dime that may be said on the airwaves. They understand true promotion. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment below. What do you think about this whole situation? As always, like and share the video and subscribe. We will catch you next time.